Okay, now once you get funded, right, you pass the first two phases, you're officially a funded trader and you do have 100k in your account or 50k, whatever. What's next? Let me tell you something. This is only the start. Do not get complacent, do not get overconfident and start taking a bunch of low quality trades. Continue to be disciplined, continue to follow your trading plan, continue to do your pre-market, post-market and your market routine, right? Continue being disciplined. Very important, because if not, at any point of time, you can lose the funding. Your job right now is to maintain your funding, right? Is to ensure that you don't break any rules that will actually cause you to lose the funding. And also, you are not, like aiming for unrealistic returns. A lot of new beginner traders, what they do is that after they get funding, they try to aim for the moon and try to get 10%. Because if they make 10% on a 100k account, that is $10,000 per month. And that's the magical number, right? We all want to make 10k per month. Now, do not be pressured to do this. Because if you do that, right, if you try to rush it and you try to make 10% within 1-2 weeks, you are going to be prone to taking a bunch of low quality trades and then you're going to lose and then you are going to draw down. And trust me, going to a drawdown on a funded account, it is not fun, right? At this point of time, your sole focus is capital preservation. You should not be worrying about making a shit ton of money. No. You should be focused on not losing any money, all right? So at this point of time, like I said, your job is to maintain funding. Don't break any rules, right? Respect the drawdown, reduce your risk exposure, and I would advise you to aim for plus 5% return per month, right? Don't need to aim for 10%. No. Just aim for plus 5%. This is very realistic and this is very possible. I've done it. The coaches have done it. Students have done it. Very possible, right? So if you think about it, right, on a 100k account, if you make 5% per month, that's an additional $5,000 in income. And that's on top of your current job. Right now, maybe let's say you're working and you're making $3,000 per month. If you make 5% per month, that is $5,000 in additional profits. Right? So that's just something good to have, right? Don't need to aim to make 10k per month, right? I would say the problem with this is that, like I said, you are going to be more emotional. You are going to deviate from your plan more because you're obsessed with the money. When I always say, focus on the process of becoming a good trader. Because what happens when you become a good trader, when you become a better trader, that is when you can start to scale your account, all right? That's why I say, if you want to make more money, right? You want to make 10%? No. The problem is not with the returns. It is your capital. You are still considered as undercapitalized. If you are trying to make 10k per month, in that case, you need to focus on getting more capital rather than risking more per trade or aiming for unrealistic returns, right? So in this case, let's say this is your first 100k account, right? And then you find that, $5,000 per month, that's not enough. I want to make 10k per month. I want to scale, right? In that case, don't worry about that first. Maintain your funding, right? At least try to be consistent on this existing funded account for a few months, right? 2-3 months before you attempt another 100k challenge, right? And what I would advise you to do is to reinvest your profits, right? Take the profit that you earn from this funded account, the payouts, and go and purchase another funding account. That is when you can really start scaling your trading account, right? So once that is done, you purchase another 100k account, and then you pass the 2 phases because you follow our risk management strategy, you follow our mechanical framework, bam, you got 200k in your account right now. I mean, you have 2 different 100k funded accounts. So you are managing about 200k in total capital. In this case, if you are making 5% of 200k, guess what is that? That is your magical 10k per month, right? So you can see, you're still aiming for 5%. It's just that you have more capital to play with right now, right? And you are also disciplined, right? Because you don't need to rush to make 10%. You just need to make 5% on both of these accounts, right? So that is really when you can start scaling, right? And then eventually you scale all the way up to having 400k in capital. The best case is having 2 million in your trading capital, but let's say you really become a professional trader, right? You know what you are doing. You have good risk management rules in place. You have a proven profitable trading strategy. You are consistent. Then you can slowly start to scale to 400k. Like I said, when you're in doubt, just follow the timeline that I gave you in the previous lesson, right? The funded roadmap. Yeah. So eventually you scale up to 400k and you make 5% on 400k. How much is that? That is $20,000. Additional $20,000 per month, bro. At this point of time, you are eventually like 6 figures trader because $20,000, and if you make that over 12 months, I don't even know how much is that. That's like 240k. Yeah, and if you make 10k per month for 12 months, that is a good 120k. So if you can just make 10k per month, right, you are essentially like the top 3% of traders already, right? Yeah, like I said, man, 5% per month on a 100k account is good enough, man. That's like $60,000 a year, bro. That's like additional income. So please, guys, do not focus on, making unrealistic returns, because like I said, yes, you can make 10%, right? This might just be a limiting belief. You can make 10%, but know that it's going to be very difficult to maintain making 10% per month every single month. It's going to be much more easier to make 5% per month every single month. And also, last thing I forgot to mention, right, is to have a buffer of 2 to 5% that you leave in your account so they can take losses, right? Because like I said, when we are funded officially, we want to focus on capital preservation, which means we don't want to risk too much on our trade. We still want to continue risking 0.5 to 1% per trade, continue doing that. Just that right now, we don't have to increase our worries or whatnot so that we can pass the funding challenge, because we already got the funds, right? In this case, your focus is to not go below this black line right here. So when you do make profits, right, let's say you're up about 8% over the span of 2 months, right? So this is month 1 and then this is month 2. Now you're up 8%. Do you want to withdraw all of these 8%? You can, right? But if you do that, bear in mind, your account go back to 0%, right? And it's going to be easier for you to drop into this drawdown. Like I said, this is the zone that we don't want to enter. In that case, what I recommend you to do is to have a buffer. What I mean is that if you're up about 8%, maybe go and withdraw 3% of that profits, and then you leave another 5% remaining in your account, so that your account balance is 105k at all times, right? So that you can take a few hits before you drop down to the drawdown zone, right? So yeah, that's something you can do, have a buffer. Once again, this is completely up to you, but I would actually recommend you to do it, because if you want to maintain your funding, don't withdraw everything that you have made, right? Leave it to compound also as well, and also leave it to have some sort of buffer, right, that will protect you, that will shield you from the losses that are inevitable. Because like I said, eventually or at some point of time, you might encounter a losing streak. If you withdraw all your profits, you go back to 0%, guess what? The losing streak is going to cause you to tremble down, and it's going to be quite difficult to recover psychologically, right? Because this is really like real funded account. This is no longer like a challenge account or a verification account. No, this is actually a funded account. So your trading psychology is going to be a little bit more tough.